Playing sports is an investment, whether it's your time, energy, or money. This is financing your athletic dreams. Welcome to the first episode of Financing Your Athletic Dreams. I'm Martin Soaries, and I'm the host of this podcast. What I'm about to do in this first episode is introduce you to myself and introduce you to what you can expect from this podcast. It shouldn't take too long, but what I'm going to try to do is just give you a general idea of the kind of things that we're going to talk about. So financing your athletic dreams. This is personal for me because I've been an athlete my whole life, as long as I can remember. I've played basketball since I was a kid. I've played organized basketball all my life through high school and college. I was a 1,000-point scorer in high school and college and had a pretty decent career. I'm now a basketball trainer on the side of other things that I do. But one of the things I do to finance my life is I work with basketball players at all levels, which I've been doing for about 5 years now. Working with players on skill development, mostly private skills training, but I've done camps and clinics in all kinds of places. But we'll talk more about that. But as a former player and as a current trainer, I've definitely been exposed to just the reality of the journey of your athletic dream, what it takes, what it means, and what it costs. So to get more into myself, I will say, right off the bat that there are things that I will talk about, but only from my experience on this podcast. There's definitely no way for me to identify with a parent specifically because I am not a parent. I am a proud not a parent. I have no kids of my own. The only kids I have, and if I make reference to my kids while on this podcast, just know that means those are kids that I coach. They are not mine. I did not create any children yet and bring anything like that into this world. So that has not been my divine calling yet. And there are so many others doing such a phenomenal job that I just love to admire. But I myself am not a parent. So I hope that nothing would ever come across as if I am giving parental advice. I am also not a financial anything. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't want to be a financial advisor. I know enough about money to make my own money, and I've been trying to learn as much as I can as I go. But I am not a financial person. I'm barely even a numbers person, but money is part of life and it's part of athletic life. And again, as part of what I do to make money and what I've done and seen and experienced as a player, there are a lot of ways to look at the way to finance your athletic dream, whatever that may be. So I want to start just real quickly and briefly with this first episode, with the first, really, I feel like the first principle of all of this, because if you're a parent or an uncle or a teacher or somebody who is listening and interested in this for whatever reason to find out more about this topic, it probably means that you want to know more in order to help some young aspiring athlete to pursue their dream, whatever that may be. And so I want to focus on like that dream part very briefly. And the main thing that I think is most important in all of this to start with, making sure that you know what the dream is and why that's the dream. As a kid, personally, I never really thought I was going to go to the NBA. It wasn't that I didn't think it would be cool or that I wasn't good enough per se until I got to a certain age and I'm like seeing the kind of people that go to the NBA and I'm like, well, I really haven't been, for whatever reason, I was never motivated enough to put in the amount of work needed to be that kind of player, and that wasn't the life that was designed for me, obviously. But I never had that as a real dream, as really something that I said I really wanted. Now, in maybe first grade or something, when I was that young and you had to write in something or as a homework assignment, what do you want to be when you grow up? I probably just said NBA because basketball was my dream. It was basketball. And so even when I work with players, any player nowadays, I mean, certain players, if they're a certain way, you can kind of tell certain players love basketball and that they love working out, or that, this is really fun for them, and then that makes it easy. But almost every player I'll even ask, like, why are you here? Are you here because your parents want you to be here? Like, and usually parents are comfortable enough to leave them with me, by themselves. I'm usually doing private sessions, so we'll talk about that. Like, I mean, do you feel like you have an internal sense of why you're here, why you want to be here, why you want to work out for the next hour and make yourself tired and learn new things and challenge yourself? Like, why do you think you want to do that? And depending on how young they are, they may not really know, but the more you just show how genuinely you want to know, the more honest I've found and expressive that they'll be. So um it's really just making sure that whatever whatever sport it is, whatever athletic dream it is, that that's really what they want and that they know what it is. It might just, it might be making the high school team or making the varsity team, or becoming a college basketball player or going Division 1, or playing pro. Now, nowadays, and this is something I'll hopefully be able to really unpack and talk about more on this podcast in terms of like the evolving atmosphere of athletics and professional athletics, especially because the opportunities for being a pro are more diverse than they were even, just 10 to 20 years ago. So like the opportunity to possibly play overseas, but even that, is it becomes so popularized and so accessible seemingly, that people think that you can just do it, that you'll just go overseas without knowing that that is a work process in itself, and a journey in itself. So but it's a great reality. It's a great thing to know that there are other options than just the NBA. If you don't go to the NBA, you're not, it means it doesn't mean you're not a good player or that you can't be a pro. But as I said, basketball, I always knew was my dream personally. Like, I wanted to make a life out of basketball, playing, or, for most of my, young life, it was playing because I wasn't doing other stuff. But then I got into writing and talking and recording, doing video and editing. And there's all kinds of things, coaching, all kinds of things that I can do now through basketball that fulfill me and that pay me. So it's understanding what the dream is for that athlete. Do they want to be great? A dream to just be greatness. Do they really just want to become great? Are they watching those great moments on TV when they're lifting the trophy and you can just tell, like, they just watch it till it goes off late at night. You just know because that was me. I was watching Michael Jordan as a kid, like watching those moments, really tapped into basketball. I feel like the most important thing before we get into financing or athletic or dreams is finding out, making sure we know what the dream is and why that's the dream, and really like just sticking to that and knowing that, because that will flow everything else into what it's supposed to be. Because if the purpose is pure and genuine and that intent and that dream, is a real dream, you can tell when a dream is a dream and when it's just whatever. So if it's really that, the financing part and everything else will not only that, but you'll be more motivated to to come out of your pocket and to finance things if you know that that's a real dream. And again, not to preach to parents or anybody, but it better not be your dream, financing your athletic dreams. If you 45 years old, your athletic dreams are over. So it ain't about financing their athletic dreams. This is about the youth, the kids. Like, so if we know that, then we can go forward. So I'm Martin Soaries, and I hope that you enjoyed this first episode. And we'll be back for episode 2 to talk about. Now, I said I'm a basketball person. That's my background. I think sports are all beautiful, but basketball, I'm biased for basketball, and then that's the most beautiful by far. Um, the most beautiful game, I should say. In episode 2, I will talk more about the nature of finding a basketball trainer and securing a basketball trainer. Because securing a private basketball coach is obviously something I've had to learn more about, since that's something that I do. And I will kind of get into what that might mean, what that might look like, what the cost might be. And that will kind of be the first conversation in terms of that financing and that investment into an athletic dream. So episode 2 will be about how to find and secure a private basketball coach. Thank you for listening to this episode of Financing Your Athletic Dreams. Please subscribe to this podcast and share your thoughts about this episode. You can follow me on Instagram at martin.soaries. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time.